Hey, brother! And hello, everybody, to another edition of Fast Facts. Today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. So here we go. Hey, brother! Spider-Man Far From Home officially rounded off Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a kind of epilogue to the events of the Infinity Saga. The film was written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers and was directed by John Watts, who returned after directing Spider-Man Homecoming. Far From Home brought in a whopping $1.1 billion worldwide at the box office, just barely edging out Captain Marvel for the number 8 spot for MCU films. Which, yes, in case you were wondering, means 9 Marvel movies have done more than $1 billion at the box office. And it scored 90% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, landing it in a tie for the 9th spot with Captain America Winter Soldier. That being said though, it does boast the highest audience score of any MCU movie with a 95%. Spider-Man Far From Home picks up 8 months after the events of Avengers Endgame. Far From Home features the first live-action appearance of the villainous Mysterio and is portrayed by Jake Gyllenhaal, though it is reported Matt Damon was approached for the role, which is weird considering Matt has already played a vital character in the MCU.
Sorry about that time I turned you into a frog. It was a wonderful joke. I'm a trickster.
When pleading with Nick Fury that surely someone else could take his place in fighting the Elementals, he suggests Captain Marvel. This is the first time anyone on screen has ever referred to Carol Danvers by that name. Interestingly, Fury's response,
Captain Marvel. Don't invoke her name.
Is not in response to Carol Danvers' alias Captain Marvel. It's in reference to Mar-Vell, aka Wendy Lawson, the doctor who sacrificed herself to save Talos' family and the Skrull refugees, a sentiment that makes more sense when you realize Fury has actually been Talos himself the whole time. Fury and Maria Hill's license plate reads MTU 83779. This references the Marvel Team-Up comic issue number 83, which was released in July 1979, called Spider-Man and Nick Fury. Peter's suitcase features the letters BFP, which of course stands for, and I'm not joking, Benjamin Franklin Parker. In the background of the charity fundraiser, you can spot a poster for Crusher Hogan. This is the wrestler that Peter Parker first stepped into the ring with in his first appearance in Amazing Fantasy number 15. Interestingly, in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the same origin story is included, but they invented their own wrestler instead of using Crusher Hogan. Though, to be fair, I feel like I kind of understand why. Bonesaw. Cut a clip of that.
He's just gonna use it.
Peter's passport lists his birthday as August 10th. This is a nod to the same Spider-Man first appearance, which was released on August 10th, 1962. The issuing bank for the giant check Happy is holding is Synchrony. This is the real-world bank that issues the Marvel credit card. Jake Gyllenhaal is almost always wearing the Mysterio super getup throughout the entire movie. It's reported he just really loved the suit despite the character's request to
Somebody get this stupid costume off me!
This is actually not the first time Jake Gyllenhaal crossed paths with a Spider-Man film. Back during the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy,
pizza time,
Tobey Maguire sustained an injury while filming Seabiscuit in between the first and second installments, and Gyllenhaal was considered and almost did take over the role. Which totally makes sense because I have always thought these two were the same person. When in the vault with the family jewels, Happy refers to the halberd Ned is holding as a spear, and Ned corrects him. Earlier in the film, Ned's video game character was wielding a halberd. The film's first assistant editor, Dawn Michelle King, is the voice of Edith.
I am Edith, Tony Stark's augmented reality security and defense system.
In Far From Home, we learn that Nick Fury, at least sometimes, is actually Talos in disguise, which might mean that as of Age of Ultron, Nick Fury is actually Talos, because he says,
Toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it.
And yet, here we see Nick Fury eating what looks an awful lot like diagonal toast. What do, Nick Fury? What do? Also, he tells Carol and Captain Marvel that everyone refers to him as Fury, just Fury. The very first spoken word in Far From Home is Agent Hill addressing him as
Nick, this was a tragedy, but it's not why we're here.
Should have been a dead giveaway. On that note, J.K. Simmons makes a momentous return as J. Jonah Jameson, making the first time a character has reprised his role from a previous Marvel film into the MCU. We can only hope his son,
you know, the astronaut,
also also reprises his role. The suit that we see Quentin Beck wearing is actually a motion capture suit that is frequently used while actually creating the illusion of superhero suits in the Marvel films. When Peter boots up Tony's computer, we can briefly spot a design for the Iron Spider suit Peter wore in the comic run of Civil War. When we first meet Beck, he explains that he is from a different universe, specifically Earth 616. In the comics, the main continuity takes place on Earth 616. The pose Peter makes when taking a selfie towards the end of the movie is the same gesture he makes when he takes a selfie in the Spider-Man video game. Peter, of course, wrongly appreciates AC/DC's Back in Black, saying,
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin!
This is of course the same song that is played during the opening of Iron Man back in 2008, though Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song is prominently featured in Thor Ragnarok. And we would play that music for you, except, copyright. Spider-Man Homecoming ends with Aunt May discovering Peter's secret. Far From Home ends with the world discovering Peter's secret, and this time Peter saying, in his final showdown with Mysterio, Peter puts together pieces of street materials as an ensemble of weapons that resemble Cap carrying Thor's hammer and his shield to take on Thanos. Paired with his technological know-how and work with Tony's old equipment to build a new suit earlier in the film, almost definitely confirms to me that Peter is supposed to represent the bridge between both sides of the Civil War. He is both Tony and Steve. The agent that drives the class bus is one of Fury's agents named Dimitri, which could be a setup to the Spider-Man villain, Chameleon, whose alias is of course Dimitri, and who is typically depicted as a master of disguise. A somewhat ironic conclusion when you consider Fury is actually Talos, a Skrull in disguise. Far From Home is the first Marvel movie to not feature a cameo from Stan Lee, making Endgame his final appearance. The film, however, does still pay tribute to the legend. And finally, when Peter and MJ are swinging through New York, you can see a sign that reads, "We can't wait to show you what's next," with the numbers 1, 2, 3, and then a question mark, an indication of the closing of the third phase of the MCU. This Easter egg goes on to hold a little bit of irony because shortly after the release of Far From Home, negotiations between Disney and Sony allowing Disney's use of the Spider-Man character in the MCU fell through, meaning Spider-Man will no longer be a part of the overarching narrative. And just kidding, as of writing this video, that last fact was true, but as of recording it, it is no longer true. Spider-Man will be returning to the MCU in 2021. Surprise, surprise. But guys, as always, thanks for watching. For my question of the day, are there any facts that we missed, or are there any other movies you'd like to see us do a fast facts on? Let us know in the towel section down below. Also guys, we have finally put together a Super Carlin Brothers hoodie, which is available now over at SuperCarlinBrothers.store on a pre-order. They will start shipping towards the end of October. Definitely check it out. And guys, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like some more Marvel action from us, you can check out this video right here where we go through all of the fast facts from Endgame, or this video right here to figure out why JJJ hates Spider-Man so much. But Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.